So welcome to GP Orlando Day 2. It is standard and it is the Fireballers, David Ochoa and Conley Woods going at it here in what is in fact round 11 here. Round 10 has just gone by. Palavida Damarosa and Ben Stark provided us a terrifically entertaining opener to our Day 2 coverage here at GG's Live and MagicTheGathering.com. Rich and Sheldon with you for Conley against Ochoa, and Conley is playing this traitor ramp deck. So we're going to see some, all kinds of entertainment from him. And Ochoa, meanwhile, you'll get to see what Delver does against Conley's outfit. A couple of Sphere of the Suns, a Birds of Paradise, Inkmoth Nexus, the trademark traitor, Glisser.
The trademark traitor, Glisser. We saw Conley's deck in operation a little bit yesterday. We didn't see too many of the Glisser shenanigans that are possible.
Yeah, he ultimately won by having Ratchet Bomb at 2 with Glisser there to deal with Invisible Stalker. But as you say, we didn't see lots of flim-flammery and tomfoolery.
Jackanapery, even.
Jackanapery, dear God. Yeah, that one on tomfoolery. That comes after the tomfoolery.
Yes.
Your standard win box is waiting on you.
Ponder on your left of screen from Ochoa after the probe. Strange, you often think of Legacy or Vintage as the formats where you get to do more than one thing on turn one.
Yes.
But we just regularly see probe, ponder.
Well, again, Phyrexian Mana especially completely changes the math of the game. Both in what you can do and what you have to expect from your opponent.
There's Ochoa, future Pro Tour champion over his right shoulder. You just see on the screen there. He'd qualify for the JSS if it was still going. Probably 7.
Look at that face on Conley Woods.
That's got to be part comedy, because you don't do that against David Ochoa when you're teammates. But David Ochoa looks like that a lot too, to be fair. Has a lazy smile away from the table, but not much at the table.
Perhaps Conley is doing some performance art.
Would not put it past him. Second Sphere of the Suns for Conley to go with Birds of Paradise.
So Conley theoretically going to have 6 mana available. Well,
and we'll
make that 5.
Yeah, Ochoa's gut told him that shot was the appropriate time to get rid of the Birds of Paradise. Bolt the birds.
Bolt the birds.
We discussed yesterday. Let's have Sphere number 3. Ochoa sitting very patiently with that. That resolves. So, unsurprisingly, the I didn't have a play on turn 3, oh wait, yes I did. Night Haunting gets you in for 2. David Ochoa is attacking Conley Woods
with Conley Woods.
How rude. Geist of St. Traft.
Ochoa clearly wants to apply some pressure here on Conley so that he doesn't have the opportunity to develop, or if he does, by the time he does, he's going to already be on the ropes.
So 5 mana, not 6 since the Birds of Paradise is gone. Conley's going to take a counter off and a counter off. And 4 will buy him Solemn Simulacrum.
The Solemn Simulacrum is a significant speed bump for the Geist.
Yep. Now has the chance to get in the way. But Ochoa says, how about you don't get in the way? Once again, he has the answer when he needs it. Had the gut shot for the bird to stunt things. Now the snap.
Sword on Geist gets in, and there's a significant life total difference swing right there.
That's quite extensive red zone, to put it mildly.
To put it mildly. And Conley only has one turn if he doesn't do something drastic.
What does drastic look like? I mean, he has 4 Grave Titan, 4 Primeval Titan. The Glisser that has been there since the dawn of time. 3 Black Sun Zenith represents drastic, really. 1 Ratchet Bomb is in no sense quick enough.
No, he needs Black Sun Zenith here. And he needs it for 4 to be able to take out the Geist with the sword on it.
It's not promising. I invite you to lose a dude. More counters come off. It's going to be... Oh, it's Glisser. So again, an attempt to buy a little bit of time. Conley is at 2.
What's going to take care of the Geist token?
Sitting there with 2 mana, 3 cards. Got an Inkmoth Nexus. Which he can activate off
which
the,
can activate.
Off the sphere.
Yep.
Or he can just play, cast something useful like a Doomblade. So OCHOA quips other way, and then says, I'd like to attack. In they come, and Conley says, yeah, that'll be game. Sometimes it's not as exciting.
Right.
As in, like, what are the 3 cards in hand? Nothing.
No.
Die.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think Black Sun Zenith is the only answer that Conley actually has right there.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what sideboard options they run. Looks like OCHOA, a couple of dissipates. Probably unlikely to see those. Some more timely reinforcements. Divine Offering doesn't seem to do much because Glissa's just going to bring them back anyway, right?
Sure. Wyvern Ring.
Couple of O-rings, yep.
Phantasmal Image.
Seems a good card. Again, Conley spends a lot of mana doing something.
Mm-hmm.
You get to copy it for 2.
Glisser's legendary as well, so in theory
Yes.
you could Phantasmal Image Glisser if that was an issue.
It was problematic, right? A Mental Misstep, a Negate, a Vapor Snag, and a couple of Dismembers.
The Vapor Snag were good for him. It was good for him in game 1. Conley, of course, has a little more interesting sideboard in that some of the cards that you wouldn't expect to see in some of the other decks. So, of course, we had a couple of Curse of Death's Hold. When we talked to Reed Duke, he was saying that his Curse of Death's Hold are in the sideboard. He doesn't want to clutter the deck with too many 5-mana sorceries. Part of the appeal of the deck is Nephalia Drown Yard gets to mean that you don't have to do this consecrated Sphinx, Sphinx of Athun, some gigantic Man of Doom that taps you out. Instead, you can just go, well, I'm kind of in control. So Reed doesn't like to play the Curse of Death's Hold main. Conley is also not found room for it main, has 2 in the sideboard, so we guess that. Ratchet Bomb can go up from 1 to 2, Black Sun Zenith can go up from 3 to 4, and strangely enough will. I'm prepared to predict the extra Black Sun Zenith right now. A couple of Nile Spellbomb again seems pretty decent in terms of avoiding the fun and frolics of Runechanter's Pike, because there's a few things more sorry than a Runechanter's Pike with an empty graveyard.
With an empty graveyard.
I mean, arguably a Runechanter's Pike with a huge graveyard and no creatures is a sadder thing, but
right.
that doesn't really happen in the Delver Mage deck. A couple of Batterskull, the Tree of Redemption, the 0-13, Viridian Corruptor, Thrun, one Planeswalker in Liliana of the Veil, another in Garrett Primal Hunter. Go for the Throat, Ancient Grudge. One of those sideboards, as you can see, there are 3 2s and then 9 singletons. So very much, let's go for versatility, let's just tweak the way the matchup works. In a way, the most dramatic thing you can do here against the Delver is the 2 Curse of Death's Hold and hope to see them in time. So he doesn't shift the matchup hugely. And again, like Ben Stark said, it's not like Conley thinks he's suddenly overwhelmingly favored against Delver. It's just thinks he has a deck that might be well positioned to have a shot.
Everything's about increments.
Yep.
As you were talking to Reed Duke, I went over and talked to Ben and Paolo as they were breaking down, and I asked him about the gamesmanship on the Bloodline Keepers.
Yeah.
And they both said, it came into the thought process of whether I bring him in or not for the sideboarding. Paolo said he knew that Ben was going to bring him in for game 3 because he thinks it's the only way Ben can win in the 11 minutes they have left in the round.
Ah, right, okay. So not just a meta game within the 2 players, but the clock comes into it.
Right.
Okay.
He said, I was pretty sure he was bringing them in for game 2, but again, knowing that I know that,
maybe he doesn't.
Ha-ha. So it looks like they've taken their hands, they're looking for their mulligans. See at least 2 land for Conley.
So it looks like Conley's standing pat. He is. So it begins with double mana available. Can pick and choose his colours. Cho will go blue. Will he also go Delver?
Seems like he has.
Ta-da. Interesting that he chooses to play with a checklist card rather than he's playing in sleeves. So
yes.
But just an extra layer of insurance because you only need the sleeve to be just this tiny little bit visible.
Yep.
And you're in trouble. So you might just as well always play with checklists.
There's
no reason not to.
Yeah, right.
So Rampant Growth turn 2 from Conley. Sees him red mana. Finds his Lone Mountain. So he has Ancient Grudge in the board, potentially as an answer to pikes and swords. Conley's like, yes! No flip. See, we didn't even need to look at the board to know what that
exactly
pump the fist was. Like, yes! No instant or sorcery for you. It'll be an attack for 1. That's perfectly acceptable. Now, OCHOA surely has a 3rd land. He can't have stuck here at 2. And he? He has stuck at 2 land. Decided that, obviously Delver into an instant, attack for 3 flying, make an invisible stalker. That's a clock right there, and even if you don't see the 3rd land. But as it is... Oh boy.
Black Sun for 1 is the pro play right there.
Wrath of God for 3.
A lot of less experienced players might not make that play there, but seeing that OCHOA they would want to wait. But seeing that OCHOA is stalled on land and he's going with the Delver plan, right now you can kill the Delver for 1 for the Black Suns for 1. Once it flips, you need another one.
And plus, when he finds land number 3, as he now has done, and then opens up Midnight Haunting, Conley is 1 turn closer to finding what he needs in terms of another Black Sun Zenith. But here, we have 5 mana Curse of Death's Hold. OCHOA, I had to be holding something if he wasn't holding land, was holding the Mana Leak and the Black Sun, and the Curse of Death's Hold goes away.
That resolves, it's almost entirely lights out for OCHOA.
Yes. Honda for the Californian OCHOA.
Certainly he's brought in the Oblivion Rings, so that would take care of the tomes, but it makes it a significant uphill climb if a tome resolves.
Yeah. Curse of Death's Hold, 5 mana. Your guys get -1/-1. Night of Soul's Betrayal was an absolute beating in Kamigawa block. This a little bit more expensive, but it's one-sided. Just fabulous.
Night of Soul's Betrayal also legendary. Conley offers up Solemn Simulacrum to OCHOA. Flips through his hand. It does resolve.
Just a couple of cards, but in a lot better shape than the last game. OCHOA still has plenty to do.
Players, we are still accepting signups for the sealed TCG Player Gold Qualifier. This event will begin in approximately 20 minutes. So if you're interested in participating in the sealed qualifier for TCG Player, please come to public events to sign up.
The pike, and you can see, for a change, we can actually see a graveyard down at the bottom of the screen. So OCHOA is busy piling that up. Again, just like a Kessig Wolf run, everything's a threat suddenly. Gum? Anyone? For a moment I thought OCHOA was playing in different sleeves. He had the right kind of size. And I was like, wait, it's a Wrigley's deck box. No, it's not a Wrigley's deck box. Other forms of gum are available.
You know, we were, as an aside, we were talking a little bit about television last night. And there's a significant scene in The Wire with a piece of gum, where an internal affairs investigator offers, played by Forrest Whitaker, offers someone a piece of gum, and they at first say no, and then he insists that they take it, and he says that he tells somebody later on that's part of a interrogation technique, actually.
Well, the interrogation from Conley was, "Can I have green sun zenith?" And the answer was no. You may not. Something else to ponder.
Something else to ponder for a change. It's the operative bit. If he can get you to take the piece of gum, he can get you to admit anything else. He knows it's a sign. If you're going to break down over a piece of gum, you're going to break down over it.
You establish your dominant position. It's like, no, really, have the gum. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, got you.
Brilliant show, The Wire.
Isn't it just?
So no equipage of the pike just yet. OCHOA choosing to develop his board state a little better.
Choosing and chewing.
And choosing and chewing.
And
I think OCHOA is clearly going to play to keep Conley off of doing something big.
He has to represent the ability to say no repeatedly. See the different styles of land as well. OCHOA kind of has this magic square of land around the table. None of them come together. Paolo doing creature. Oh, here we go. Okay, you have mana for counter spells. You got counter spells? Have you? How about now?
If he's got to play it, if he's got it.
Snapcaster Mage, Flashback. Mana Leak out the board. Yes, I do have an answer.
Yes, you have an answer. Obviously, exiling that Mana Leak then makes the pike a little smaller. But I think he'll take the trade.
Seems fair. No Grave Titan, no zombies, plus Snapcaster Mage, -1 card in my graveyard. Potentially, this is where the pike does go on. There we are. Calmly tapped out. Check the graveyard. Still a bunch. Choa's going to go with Midnight Haunting to put another spell into the graveyard before attacking. So obviously it's an instant, but this is the time to play it.
I think our count is 4 down in the graveyard there.
Now Conley is under the gun. 5. Curse of Death's Hold. Now he's not under the gun.
That's a swingy card right there.
And again, you have to put the pressure on with Grave Titan. You say, you really have to counter this. So he counters it. Now here's a Curse of Death Hold. You can't counter it. Thanks.
Choa down to 2 cards in his hand now?
Looks like, yep. One of those is a land. Conley sends the Solemn. That's a grim feeling for the blue-white. Rampant Growth. We love new cards, but sometimes old cards are so fine. Rampant Growth. Can't imagine Magic without a card like Rampant Growth. So clean, so precise, so ordinary, and yet special.
Well, it lets you play more Magic.
Always nice. Sphere of the Suns comes down, the 3 counters you see there. Choa, Geist of Suntraft. Equip. Pass the turn. Conley at 12. Conley reaches out. Says, go away, Mr. Legendary Creature. Attack with my Solemn Simulacrum.
It would be the best story if this Solemn Simulacrum went all the way.
All the way. 6 more turns of Solemn Beats. And I'm not sure Conley's got a lot left to do. Okay, Acidic Slime. Take out the Runenchanter's Pike. Now we're down to 3 turns on the clock for a Choa. This plus 2 more. Choa down at 9 now. It's going to pass. In we go. Solemn Simulacrum, in fact, looks like the Divine Offerings did come in for a Choa.
Well, the life gain could be significant.
I think that's right. Calling with Green Sun Zenith. Gets another Solemn, so the package is back online. He has drawn a Grave Titan. There it is. Choa says, sure.
Here, I'll give you some tokens of yourself.
Yeah. No Day Judgment, remember. And that is why that has to be game over and 1-1. So, like we said, the decks that aren't Delver, they don't just annihilate the Delver decks. They're just competitive with them. And that's why we've had a great match already with Ben Stark and Palavita Domidarosa, and are closing in on Game 3 between 2 fabulous players, Conley Woods and David Ochoa.
Conley going to his sideboard. Probably changing now that he's on the draw. Or at least thinking about it. You remember the days, nobody does it anymore, but back in the day, people would take their entire sideboard and put it in and then pull 15 cards out?
Very, very few. You're right. It's not a fashionable thing. I suspect, as a bad player myself, I suspect the correct answer to the reason people do this, or don't do this, is that they can't actually remember what their 15 sideboard cards are, and if they're suddenly looking at 75, I made plenty of mistakes with the 60 I started with. If I put 75 in, how would I ever choose which 15 to lose?
Fair point.
I think there's a lot of people who really are genuinely, if you're all at home going, no, we're much better than you, Rich, that's fine, I'll hold my hands up. But I suspect a lot of people genuinely lose track of their sideboards. Because you as a judge, you know the number of times that players will sort of sidle up to a judge at an event and go, could I possibly get my deck list back? Right? So, I don't think I'm alone in this. It is, however, if you can count 75, and have big enough hands. By the way, got to interrupt. Isn't that an awesome playmat?
Oh, it's spectacular.
In the background, where is that from? I want to find out where that playmat is.
Let's see if we can get some of our crack staff over on that playmat.
Could we get someone over to the far side to talk to the guy who's just behind David and Joel to find out what his playmat was? That's one of the most absurd playmats I've ever seen. That's extraordinary. I don't know his name, but he was standing there just rolling up.
He's standing behind OCHOA.
He was standing directly behind David Ochoa. I want one of those. I have a feeling it might be custom. It has the look of a straight up new mode of art. We may be too late. He may have vanished into the crowd forever. But yeah, if you can do the whole 75 into 60 and mash them and then take 15 out, good plan.
Oh, it seems a little time consuming. But yeah, your opponent is not going, oh, he put the 3 curses in, I'm good.
Sure. They have 3 minutes, is that right?
3 minutes.
Okay. Now 3 minutes is to present.
Yes.
Right. So it's not to resolve all mulligans.
It's the sideboard and present.
Okay.
Judge Nico.
One other question about shuffling. I don't know whether this is one of those urban myths that float around at low-level Magic. It's the kind of thing you hear at F&M sometimes when you're watching someone shuffle, and someone who you've never met and, kind of knew, and say, I heard, and somehow they never know who they heard it from, but I heard that when you pile out your deck, whether it's 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or even 10 piles, that isn't considered shuffling.
It's not. It's because piling isn't randomization.
Right. Okay. So to sufficiently randomize,
You have to riffle shuffle.
you have to either riffle or do the
slide
side,
shuffle,
the
right.
side slide. Okay.
Yes, just
So
piling.
all those people doing piles, you're just wasting time off your 3 minutes to present. Is there a reason to do it?
Piling in and of itself isn't randomization.
Okay.
But piling and then riffling is sufficient randomization.
Okay.
I mean, we feel like we can pile away clumps. We don't have land clumps. We don't want land
Interesting
clumps.
philosophical discussion.
But, yeah, mathematically, piling is not randomization.
Okay. So
Because-
apparently they did here.
Because you can pile shuffle your deck into exactly the back into the exact same order it was in.
Right.
It's a common piling is a common card trick use.
Okay.
So we have turn 1, no Delver.
Okay, we had a probe to get nowhere. And Snapcaster gets to probe again. So Choa's at 16 already.
I think
Coast R&D member Zach Hill. He's out in the pre-function area doing gunslinging, spell slinging. Also, artist Matt Stewart is set up.
I think OCHOA didn't particularly like his hand. It wasn't worth shipping, but I think he's gonna be looking through to find more about what he has.
Both of the VIPs are out in the pre-function area now.
So we have Zach Hill in the building from R&D. I imagine pretty tight-lipped about Dark Ascension. OCHOA at 16 passes the turn. Woods at 18. having rampant growth on turn 2, gets to
And
4
gotten-
mana and goes Solemn Simulacrum, and Conley heads towards his deck, but obviously I think we can see a Mana Leak in hand and now in the graveyard for Ochoa.
It's a good mana leak because it removes the blocker and it doesn't let him get the extra land.
Yeah, no sign yet of a Primeval Titan in this match at all. We've seen Grave from Conley.
Like the Solemn going all the way in the last game, it would be interesting to see a Snapcaster Mage.
That I think is highly unlikely. Which would basically need to draw nothing but land and growth
And
for the
rampant
rest
growth.
of the rest of the game. And it's a long clock right now. Would be pretty extraordinary though to see. I give you that.
Standard Winbox number 16. Standard Winbox number 16. If you sign up for that event, please come over to the gathering point and meet your judge, and we will get you started. Again, that's Standard Winbox number 16.
Speaking of shuffling, I think you should. I would really like to encourage players to always shuffle their opponent's decks.
I don't know whether it's because people think I'm a nice guy. The number of people who I present to, and they just go, they move to cut the deck. Because you see that the thumb and third finger. And I go, before they even touch, I say, you're about to cut my deck. Please don't do that. Please shuffle my deck.
Mm-hmm.
I want my 7 amazing cards to be entirely your fault.
Right. When you're playing casually, certainly when we play EDH, there's no cutting and shuffling of opponent's
sure.
decks. But
Because really, what would be the point of cheating in
Right.
EDH? That would be pretty... That'd be
It's
kind
pretty
of
low.
monstrous, yeah.
well, there are unfortunately
Monstrous people in the world.
monstrous people in the world.
Yeah, always shuffle your opponent's deck. It's not offensive. It doesn't mean you think they're cheating. It means do
even
what
in-
you're meant to do.
Yeah, even at F&M.
Absolutely.
Attention players, we are still accepting signups for the $1,000 TCG Players Sealed Qualifier. We would like to start that as close to scheduled time as possible. So if you would like to register for this event, please come to public events and sign up.
So there's Invisible Stalker from Ochoa. You would feel Conley is in good shape here, in that he is now up to all the mana he could ever need. Plus, he currently has a Solemn Simulacrum. He's got 4 cards.
Conley fires the Solemn in. Choa blocks with the Snapcaster. And there's the curse.
Scott Maddock. Your standard Winbox is waiting on you. Scott Maddock.
Choa doesn't have the counter magic for the curse. Plays the
1/1 Geist of
the
Subtract,
1/1 Geist.
which will make 3/3 flyers.
Which can be enough. Looks like
Conley has Inkmoth Nexus, so would only be currently 1 go round.
and of course any creature he casts is going to get in the way of the Geist.
But instead, it's not a creature, it's just a Wrath of God with bonus shuffling action. I'm not going to attack with my Inkmoth Nexus.
Well, he sets up
Nibble in.
he sets up the poison counter for later, and every one he deals now, he doesn't have to do.
Plus, he's got Kessig Wolfrun in the deck, so that potentially wins from 1 to dead. OCHOA just passes the turn. Now, of course, there could be a Midnight Haunting. Conley will activate both. They will both come in, so presumably not a Midnight Haunting. OCHOA poisoned 3. A land presumably is not what he wanted there. Let's see how that particularly helps him. Second white source, maybe. 2 more poison counters come through.
Halfway there, looks like Conley is gonna play it somewhat conservatively.
Is that an Inferno Titan in hand? Oblivion Ring 4. The Curse of Death's Hold.
Yeah, that's not an Inferno Titan because Conley's not playing.
Oh, sure. Something red. Is that Ancient Grudge then he's got in hand?
Ancient Grudge.
You're in the room. I need you at public events immediately, please. Judge Kevin Buccelli to public events.
Oh, boy.
Acidic Slime.
Take that away.
That's pretty swingy.
Another 2 poison.
Not sure OCHOA has it in him.
Leave you with Midnight Hauntings doing nothing. They're back to not being able to block. Oof.
I think that was a backbreaker in this match.
Mm-hmm. OCHOA has all the cards in the world, and many of them may well be functionally blank right now. There's a good 7. He has the look of someone who's about to let go of those 7 cards
and drop them on the table.
Onto the table and reach out a hand. Enchanter's Pike. Pass the turn.
Again.
Can't imagine Conley cares. It's going to untap. Draw. Another Curse of Death's Hold. Oh,
if that
God.
stays, I think that is certainly the final nail in the coffin with a little carving on top.
Oh, yeah. Well, it has been countered. Conley will just go in, attack you with everything. 9 poison. Was indeed. Grudge away the chant. Runechanter's Pike. David OCHOA at 9 poison. We're going to double
Sticks
Curse
the hand.
of Death's Hold. Game shot. And the match. Conley wins.
Magic players, this is the very last call for
there he
signups
is.
for the 1K TCG
And
player.
he has now won his first 2 of the day. Moves to 9 1-1. OCHOA has his second defeat, 8 2-1.
At the side stage.
So